seeing into the future of healthcare. A system currently stretched to breaking point, failing to meet its own guidelines to save the sight of hundreds of people every day. But perhaps the solution lies not with more doctors, but with machines powered by artificial intelligence.
We're very quickly going to reach a tipping point where AI can transform all of healthcare.
Whilst this at the moment is just a research project, the potential is enormous.
For the NHS, AI could mean better care and lower costs as machines take on some of the jobs done by doctors. Their power comes not just from analysing images in milliseconds, but learning from the data they collect. DeepMind, one of the companies at the forefront of those changes, leading the way in AI not just in the UK but in the world. It was set up in London by 3 partners in 2010. Just 4 years later, it was bought by Google for £400 million. DeepMind's flagship AI project is being done right here at Moorfields Eye Hospital. It gives us a sneak peek into a vastly new type of healthcare that patients love. But it also unnerves people worried about medicine slipping into corporate control. One of the founders, Mustafa Suleiman, talked to us exclusively about the company's project with the NHS.
What I'm really worried about is that the fear and the reactionary paranoia is going to limit the access to what is clearly going to be an incredibly valuable technology which will change people's lives.
In the UK, the total cost of blindness is £28 billion every year, equal to a fifth of the health budget. Every day, 220 people go blind because of macular degeneration, a completely treatable condition when caught in time. But the Royal College of Ophthalmologists says patients with acute AMD should be seen within 2 weeks, but the NHS is falling short of this guidance. Here at DeepMind's office, the technology they're pioneering is teaching machines how to self-learn and copy human intuition. Last year, in a groundbreaking moment, a computer outsmarted the best human brain in the ancient Chinese game of Go, the holy grail of AI. This game's special because there are more possible moves than there are atoms in the universe, so there's no way to calculate every option on the board. Instead, the machine had to mimic neural networks, learning from experience and acting a little like the human brain. Every time it did this, it got better, and eventually it bested the Grandmaster. Now, the same technology is being used to save people's sight. Elaine Manor knows all about the trauma that can bring. 15 years ago, she started to go blind in her left eye.
I was just devastated, and I just felt like that I was just walking along this path in the woods, and the shadows were getting darker and darker. Everything was getting dimmer and dimmer, and I felt less of a person. I felt a bit alienated from everybody else.
Then just 3 years ago, Elaine faced the prospect of losing the sight in her other eye as well.
I waited maybe 6 to 8 weeks for an appointment, worrying all the time that something dreadful was going to happen to this eye. Just thinking about what the consequences would be if you were told you're blind, you're vulnerable. And life for me then wouldn't have been worth living, it really wouldn't.
Now with AI, it'll turn out to be a very different story for her. She was one of Moorfields' first AI test studies. And now, instead of living in the shadows, she spends her time in the clouds, raising money for other patients facing blindness.
How was it?
Absolutely fantastic.
My name's Becky, I'll be doing a scan today.
And this is AI in action. While it looks like a normal scanner, inside there's a machine learning tool that can analyze thousands of complex images almost instantly. They show not just the back of your eye, but the cross-section of the retina at a higher magnification than the MRI machine.
So this is part of your central nervous system.
Hours work for an eye consultant, just a few seconds for an AI machine.
We have a situation where the commonest cause of blindness in the UK is something called wet age-related macular degeneration. And the thing about AMD is that nearly 200 people every single day just in the UK develop the blinding forms of AMD. Now, the Royal College of Ophthalmologists states that these patients should be seen and treated within 2 weeks of the onset of their symptoms. The reality is on the NHS that target is not being met. AI will allow us to identify those patients and get them treated not just within the 2 weeks, but potentially within 2 days.
Artificial intelligence is a remarkable achievement. You can see that in a place like this. But with it comes some very serious dilemmas. Will people ever accept mistakes made by machines? Because there will be some. And when those mistakes take place, who's responsible? The machines or the people behind them?
There's a real problem over lack of clarity on liability issues when you get into things like machine learning. If you take something like healthcare, within a short space of time, it may well be negligent for a doctor not to use an artificial intelligence aid. But in that situation, who's to say who's liable? Is it the tool which may have just interpreted some incorrect old data, or is it the doctor who's not really assessed whether or not the outcome of that tool is valid? These are quite difficult issues, but in my view it always has to be the doctor who remains liable. We've already seen it in quite an interesting experiment in Switzerland, where some sort of machine learning bot was let loose on the dark web. It was given, I think, €100 a week to go and spend on the dark web, and it went off and it bought some illegal drugs, it bought some firearms, and it bought some surveillance equipment. And the authorities found out about this thing and came in and, quote, arrested it. Of course, you can't arrest a machine, but we give these things personality and sort of ascribe liability to the machines when, of course, the things which were being done were really the responsibility of the people who had set this bot free.
Whatever the doubts, AI is now being used in specialities beyond ophthalmology. At Guy's and St Thomas's Hospital, it's being trialled in both heart surgery and pioneering fetal scans.
What artificial intelligence allows us to do is to capture the training and the experience of literally thousands of people very, very quickly and embed that into a computer algorithm. So we've captured much more than any single person could capture in a lifetime.
For Rebecca Hooper and millions of other mothers, these new types of scan show details never seen before.
A lot of the healthcare systems that we have are quite overwhelmed. If we talk about baby scanning, we're talking about millions and millions of pictures being generated at each center where the scanning is carried out. In that case, the AI actually can analyze the pictures and help you to see if there's anything wrong with the baby.
But if AI can do all that, is this the end for doctors?
The way to think about these systems is that they're tools, just like scanners and scalpels. These are assistants that help us as humans to do better. They augment our existing human capabilities.
Of course, as a creator of the technology, he's a believer. But despite the progress at Moorfields, DeepMind has been drawn into controversy after a project at London's Royal Free Hospital was given access to sensitive data from 1.6 million patients to create an app for doctors. While the technology was much more basic and not at all AI related, it raised doubts about whether such a big project should be awarded to a commercial organisation, leading to some questions on privacy for DeepMind.
We have the security expertise of decades now to protect and store this data. In addition to that, we subject ourselves to the highest level of oversight. So we have a panel of independent reviewers who we've invited proactively to scrutinise us in the public interest. In fact, we've given them a budget to come and check out what we're doing and interview our staff, and hopefully they'll publish an annual report at the end of the year.
Do you accept that there's a concern that this information could be used commercially?
We've always invited that kind of scrutiny, but at the same time, we should be clear that there are enormous benefits to being able to scale things within commercial organisations.
Along the route, those organisations stand to make a fortune. Economists now describe data as the new oil, a 21st century commodity that will be the driver of wealth for companies. The question is, will this be at the expense of individuals?
Do you think that machines will help humanity, or will it entrench inequality?
We have to think very sensitively about how any new technology is introduced, and if we don't introduce it wisely, it will entrench the existing order, put it that way. And so if we really care about inequality, then we should definitely start to think now, which is, I think, is early, and that's the right time to be thinking about it, about who benefits from that technology and how you can ensure those benefits are as widely available as possible.
AI technology can seem like it's been borrowed from a sci-fi script, but this type of medicine is coming faster than you think. There are huge gains to be made by patients and taxpayers alike. But there are risks too, because those gains depend on us giving up some of the secrets of our medical history to corporations we may not be able to control.